Hello and welcome to the Heresy Lodge. I'm your host, Dylan Cooper, the constant host over here.
Gavin Franklin.
And guys, we are here this week to do our year in review.
This is the third year in review.
Our third year. Crazy part is next year, it's gonna be a pretty different lodge. We're gonna be out of the Siege books.
We hope.
And we want to do different shit.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be a good thing to kind of discuss, right? Like, what's the plan for next year?
Yeah, for 2024.
Are we doing a 2024 preview episode?
I think we are.
It's a mix of 2023 review.
We're doing our preview and our review. So yeah, before we get into that, as you can see, if you're on the tube, we are together. We are in person. Gavin made the 45-minute trek. Actually, no, we came from Lexington first.
On my way up.
Yes. Brought us some scotch.
It's very good scotch.
We are drinking.
I don't know.
Glentochars Distillery single malt Scott whiskey. Well, there's no E, so the whiskey's misspelled.
I think that's how.
Weissguy.
Isn't that how?
I don't know. We're drinking some Scotch Weissguy, aged 22 years.
I think that's how Scotland spells whiskey.
Weissguy.
That's like kind of like bus. Does it have one or two S's?
One.
No, you can write it either way. In English, but the word bus has both one and two S's. I knew this working at the bus garage.
Bus.
Like bus.
Which bus do you want?
Yeah, it's pretty good.
It's really good.
What are your thoughts on it? Be for real.
Not much of a burn, which I enjoy.
Yeah. It's not smoky, which I feel like it's a mood thing, you know?
Yeah, I don't even know how to describe the flavors in there because I feel like it's very complex. There's a lot of things going on.
It's a lot.
Like I think I might taste a little bit of cherry in there. Does this tell us? It's set in lush green surroundings since 1989. This distillery, no, this is just what the distillery.
Yeah.
This 1996 vintage is almost juicy, delivering intense flavors of fruit salad, vanilla pod, and toffee with a pleasant finish of sweet oak. Okay, so cherry does make sense from the fruit salad. Interesting decision to put up. They said, "Fuck it, put the whole fruit salad in there."
Just put fruit salad. So, yeah, I get. I don't know. I get a lot of alcohol at Christmas, but my mom she gets the whole family a bottle of bourbon. That they do this special bourbon. I don't know if you ever heard of this, but they take it at seas. It's like bourbon at sea. So what they do is they put it in a barrel and they put it on a ship.
Yep.
Right. And then we just got one that they aged in Singapore and then brought back. And we like to do like blind tastings every year.
That's fun.
This year we kind of got to like we compare last year's. We saved a little bit from last year's, which was from the Caribbean. And then from this year we did a blind tasting. And we've done it a couple of years now. We've gotten to the point where like we actually, I don't know, maybe we were getting better at it. But we've done a lot of training.
We are connoisseurs.
Yeah, so we do a blind test and we're like, this is the new one, this is the old one. Yeah. We got 100%.
Nice, that's cool.
Yeah.
Before we get too far into the episode, as always, hit us up on our Discord. Find that pinned to our Twitter at Heresy Lodge. Email us at theheresylodge@gmail.com. Check us out on YouTube at Heresy Lodge. Merch. Buy some.
Christmas is over, so you messed up.
Yeah, but hey, new year, new you, new merch.
New merch.
Gavin.
Yeah.
This last year, we finished 18 books.
18 books in a year.
18 books.
That seems low.
It does, but we had some stinkers in there.
Our goal's like 24, but I guess when we get to the seed, it starts slowing down. So
yeah,
that's actually, I think it's a good pace.
So just I'll just do the Horus Heresy ones. We all know the siege ones.
Yeah.
So
where do we start?
We started 2023 with Talorn.
Wow, that was so late in the Horus Heresy.
Yep. And then so it goes Talorn, Ruin Storm, Old Earth, The Burden of Loyalty, Wolfsbane, Born of Flame, Slaves of the Darkness, Heralds of the Siege, Titan Death, and then we got into the Siege.
Okay, so just from Horus Heresy books alone, what was your favorite and least favorite of this year? I can tell you my least favorite.
My least favorite was, are we counting Born Aflame as a
Yeah.
book? Because I don't know if it deserves that.
Yeah, it was pretty rough.
My favorite, of just Horus Heresy, probably Old Earth.
Old Earth was phenomenal. It
Uh,
gets so much shit.
Probably both Salamander books this year. Would I would say would put my favorite and least favorite.
Best and worst. Yeah. I mean, the other one that I love to bring up is Slaves of Darkness was a phenomenal book as
So
well.
the Darkest Talon was really good.
Talon was great. John French and Nick Kime, I think, delivered the best books this year. John French did great.
Yeah. There's, I mean, Ruinstorm existed.
Ruinstorm was pretty rough. We got dicks on the inside this year.
We did get dicks on the inside.
It seems like
I
ages
asked
ago.
for I said the same thing. But I asked the Discord, some of the favorite moments of the year. Of course, our boy Raptor delivered. Let me pull it up.
Guy,
He said dicks on the inside.
of course. That's probably my favorite moment of the year.
The leather suited space wolves.
It's true though. We didn't make that joke up.
It was
Was it Guy Haley? Who did
let's see. That one was
it's Wolfsbane, right?
Yeah, it's Wolf's Bane. Guy Haley.
Guy Haley made that joke.
He got weird. Why does no one read Old Earth?
Well, I don't understand. We literally said it before the episode, or before we even brought this up.
Yep, Forgetting Vulcan. The same name of the Titan Princeps that we went through for an hour of saying
We got a
names.
lot of shit about that episode.
I thought it was hilarious.
We had probably 10 people. It was a lot. Like make comments about like how terrible that episode was.
I thought it was funny.
But I thought it was hilarious. And what's great about it is anytime, I don't know, it's sometimes flip-flop, but anytime like a book is a bit of a slog, sometimes the episodes tend to be.
Yeah.
But what I've noticed, if a book is just like bad, it's a great episode.
Like Ruin Store. We got dicks on the inside. Probably top 3 favorite moment for me. I don't know. I'll make my list here in a bit.
Dude, yeah. I mean, that's top 3 for me. I have the top 3. I know the top 3. It's number 2.
All right. Let's go through Raptors list. Mortarion actually being shit.
He is. There's nothing in the books that would ever suggest that Mortarion is a good Primarch in any way.
Nope. Raptor and Triple Gaff both said this. The Vador's Mickey Mouse homeowner or landlord. That one was fucking ridiculous.
That was pretty good.
The let's just shoot him jokes for the siege.
Let's just I don't get it.
Elephant tits. And the Vador compass spear.
That was recent. Elephant tits. What was it we were comparing it to?
Dragon tits.
Dragon tits.
We were
Dragon's milk.
Yes, dragon's milk.
On.
We went into tits and then random animal tits.
Yeah.
And then we found out elephants just have racks.
That's true. That's an absolute insane fact. I never thought I would have come across in my life.
Yeah, I agree.
I get worried on this. The biggest thing I get worried about this podcast, one, that somebody from my work is going to listen.
I've had one person listen to like an episode and they're like, yeah, that was cool. No, it wasn't.
Please stop listening. I actually had one person my last job listen. And he listened.
And they reported me to HR.
I was his manager for like a week, and then he left.
Weird coincidence.
And interesting. No, but he listened. He was actually into Warhammer. I talked to him about it for a little bit, and I think he listened to like 10, 15 episodes while he was working there and never said anything to me.
How did you know?
Well, he would be like, yeah, I listened to this episode or this episode. I was like, oh, that's cool. I think we never talked about it. It was like a hush. Don't say anything about Dick's.
Text me, inside. Don't slack it.
Do not slack anything about butt plugs. Because anyone listening is probably a little bit of a degenerate.
Look, I don't need a complaint.
Yeah, those are all really good. Those are all really good. How about you? Is there anything that comes to mind for you that is outside of this list? Because I
Hmm.
got one.
What's yours?
The double dildo flail titan.
Oh shit, that was good.
That was hilarious to me. Oh man. And
Just stay in
then
the middle. Stay in the middle. I can't hit you if you're in the middle.
and then the other one that I can't believe no one else brought up because I was crying is the Spirit Telesto. They're bringing me out of retirement. I got more titans to
Oh man,
kill.
I forgot that one was so fucking good. The whole fucking he's smoking the cigarette.
Double dildo flail titan. I haven't heard that name in years. Oh man.
Trying to think, like
Anything in the heresy.
Warcock was a good one.
Warcock was great. I mean, that just set itself up though.
It
Everyone knew
did.
Warcock before we even started.
It did. Honestly, the like shitting on Dan Abnett has been kind of nice because he has like almost like a cult following,
Sure.
and these books just haven't been good.
Yeah.
That I kind of feel good being the edge lord.
I wonder, yeah, we're super edgelord. We really are. I really wonder if like we should probably have looked into this. Like well before we started the entire podcast. Like, what are the credentials of the authors going in? Because it seems to me like people like Dan because he likes Warhammer.
Well, he also does like comics and shit too. Like I think
Okay.
he's done like Marvel books.
For a while.
Yeah.
Okay. Which Marvel has a storyline, I guess.
Yeah, I mean he kind of writes it like that, right? Just makes it up as he goes.
It does kind of seem like that's actually a really good insight because it does almost
I'm
all the
pretty
books
sure
he
it's
writes are very
Marvel. I'm gonna look it up,
Marvel-esque.
but I'm pretty sure he writes
Did he not
Marvel.
do the
Oh
what's
my.
the comic we got? What about is it the Ultramarine, the current
Oh
Titus?
yes.
Did he do
I
that?
don't think so.
Different. That was a team effort between another company, I think. But yeah, I don't understand. Dan wrote the first book. It was a great book.
Okay, yeah, it's Marvel. He wrote a Thanos book, Rocket Raccoon and Groot, Mira, Queen of Atlantis.
And that's, you know,
That's DC.
that's another thing too with comic books in general. I actually gave a whole speech in college about comic books in my speech class. And one of the points I said is like, there's no canon.
Yeah.
I don't think Dan Abnett has ever really had to work in any sort of writing capacity in which canon needs to be consistent. And it shows.
Yeah, and that's actually a very fair review because he just makes shit up.
The blind sisters or the
The
sisters
blind.
Thomas who can't
Not
see.
only are they invisible, but they're blind. No one can fucking see.
Everyone can see them, but it's like a chorus chorus thing.
Did you watch that video that we were sent on Discord?
Which one?
It was a skit from it was like a Scottish um comedy.
Sure.
And it's this guy, he's like a boss of this office space.
Mhm.
And he like he thinks he's invisible, but everyone knows he's not. And he's like, there's like a new girl, and they're like, just so you know, he thinks he's invisible. And she's like, what? And she's like, just go with it. And he's like,
Everyone's everything.
he walks and he's like, whoa, and he like picks up staplers and he's like waving around in front of her. And like the lady's just like, whoa, floating. Look at that floating stapler. That's cool. And he's like, ooh, just like walking around. Like you see a guy like, walking with his lunch and he gets tripped. And he's like, ooh. He's like, dang, I must have just tripped over my foot or something. It's just fucking ridiculous.
I think changing the subject completely. But yeah, but it's just like with the Dan thing, you know, the invisible sister of silence, the consistency with his like perpetuals. He wrote the perpetual storyline.
Yeah.
He literally did Legion and he did Cal.
Yep.
And it seems the whole time like he has no idea where it's going.
Yep. I mean,
Still
even
to this day.
yeah, and you look in volume 1 of the End of the Death, and you're like, oh shit, he's gone.
Yeah.
It's like, okay. Well,
And it's another thing that I wonder too, which is how much of this is GW saying you need to write 3 books? How much is it of GW is how much of it is GW saying this is the time we need a book released here, here, and here
Yeah.
for sales? How much of it is GW saying we'll get back to you on what you're canonically allowed to do with the perpetuals?
Well, apparently, like Danis had interviews where he said he like started writing one and it just ended up being three. And reading through one
I just don't know if I
and
believe
starting
that.
two, I'm
You don't know
asking, yeah, how?
that.
Because you got to the point
Mm-hmm.
halfway through book one to where the book should where it all ends.
Yeah.
So what are we doing?
It's frustrating because when you read a book series or even watch a movie series, will be times that like one book's gonna be better than the others.
Yep.
One movie's gonna be better than the others. And all that kind of flow. The problem is when you're getting into the 70 books, the bad starts to be very heavy.
Yeah.
And
Especially here at the end. Like,
yeah, you need to be able to justify to the reader to read
Yep.
70 books.
yeah. But hey, what other good moments have I really enjoyed? I don't know if there's been any other like kind of like insider like jokes that haven't been mentioned yet. I mean, Dicks on the Inside was some fucking
I
quality
mean, Nick
shit.
Cage and all that. That was a fun time with Ruin Storm. Ghost
Yep.
Rider.
Oh, Ghost Rider. Yep. Look at me.
Yeah.
Um, I think
That's
it.
a good one. I mean, the year when we look at all of the stuff that's come out of it, it's been a blast. And we've had some really good stories, some
We have.
phenomenal stories. I mean, the best one of the year, I do still think is Lost in the Damned. Phenomenally done.
Lost in the Damned is definitely the like book that came out of nowhere that I was like, wow, that's a good book.
Really
Like,
good.
I did not expect that one to be so good.
Yeah.
Honestly, I kind of went into it expecting more of the same of Solar War, and I was left like, wow, that was a good book.
Yeah.
It wasn't my favorite of the Siege.
I'm sure. Well, what's good is I think the top 3 books of the entire year have been Siege books, which is a good thing, in my opinion. I think you have Lost in the Damned, Scars, and
You mean Warcock?
yeah, yeah,
Echoes of Eternity.
and Echoes of Eternity. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
So it's been a whole year, and I think that the viewers that are listening to us just have a like realize, yes, we've been shitting a lot on it, but that's been the best.
Yeah, I
Like
mean,
that's
there's
what we've
some.
gotten.
What sucks is like the Horus Heresy itself didn't end on a great note because it ended with Titan death, which at
Well,
the end,
no, it ended with
Titan death is 53.
no, it was Buried Dagger, is how the Horse Heresy ends.
Oh right, why do I not have Bear Dagger on?
I don't know.
Weird.
It wasn't a super. I mean, it was a book.
Oh, there it is. I was just up here.
It wasn't like a amazing book though, in my opinion. It
Yeah.
was okay. Yeah.
Yeah, but you had like that really cool moment in Heralds of the Siege where you had Horus arriving.
That should have
Like,
been it.
yeah, like that was the setup, not Buried Dagger.
Yeah.
So, kind of it was a miss by GW
I
or
agree.
Black Library, whoever it is this releases.
Someone wanted to sell more Death Guard, or they forgot about Mortarion.
Like, ah, shit, we should make like a story about him.
Yeah, that's a guy.
And then it's just like, oh yeah, this guy actually just sucks.
So when it comes to the entire series, like I still think, looking back, out of all the times we've had on the podcast, like I still think that Hell in the Cell was probably my favorite. My favorite time.
My favorite part about it was the whole episode. It
whole
turned into like my favorite thing is like there is no scripting. There's not even editing. We just fucking wing it and go with the flow.
No plan most of the time. Literally, we start like a lot of times the episodes like we'll hang out for a little bit and then we'll go to record. We're maybe talking for like 10, 15 minutes sometimes. And then we're like, you ready? Yeah, sure, let's go. But we're not talking about the book.
Yeah, we're not talking. We're literally talking about like, well, how our week's been.
Yeah, not about the episode. We're talking about work and all that. And it's like, well, let's figure this out. Like, that's exactly what happened before we started this podcast, what happens before we start all of them. So it's like when you have an episode like the Hell in the Cell.
Yeah. But then like I don't know, like Dicks on the Inside was really fucking because it just like more things started happening. We had Ghost Rider, we had Dicks on the Inside, like everything was like such a fucking acid trip. I was like, damn,
Yeah,
that was quality.
that was a good one. I did love that one. Absolutely. Um,
And you're right, like the fucking
Spirit Tunnel stuff.
so it's time.
I gotta get out of retirement.
You finally came.
So I think I'm trying to remember out of the 3 years, was last year Hell in the Cells are like one, or was that the first year in review?
I think it was like one of the first books last year was Hell in the Cell.
Okay, so that was last year's year
Yeah.
in review. Did we do a year in review the year before?
I think so for our first year. I
I'm
think
trying
we
to
did
remember
a
like
1 year
what
thing.
are. It had to be something about butt plugs.
Yeah, it was definitely the butt.
It was
plug.
100% the Fulgrim
Yeah.
butt plug scene.
There's no way it wasn't.
Yeah, that still lives on in infamy. I still look for ways to bring that up in conversations with people when I'm playing Warhammer.
So Fulgrim shoving butt plugs up his ass. Pretty cool, huh?
Like anytime I play Emperor's Children, I'm like, you know.
You're like butt plugs? You wearing one right now? Is that why you're rolling so many sixes?
I remember I was talking to. Remember, that book that came out, Chthonia's Reckoning, I think.
Yeah.
It's like a short story novel.
Yeah.
I met one of the authors. We
Okay.
had this conversation, I think, a lot. I met him in Knoxville.
Okay.
And I was playing a tournament. Really cool guy. He had one short story. I was like, that's awesome. Can I get your autograph in the book? And he was talking about how like Graham McNeil was like his like mentor. And I don't know why, might have been a couple beers in. But I was like, oh yeah, I love Graham McNeil, like fucking phenomenal writer. Is like, do you know the butt plug scene? And he's like, what?
Well, let me tell you about your idol.
I was like, it's a great scene. I loved it.
Just butt plugs right up Fulgrim's ass.
Like Lucius shoves a butt plug up Fulgrim's ass, and he's like, what? I feel like I just kind of like I arrived there way too quickly than what was appropriate for a conversation. And like we were just talking about books as UW. I was like, yeah, fucking butt plugs on the dude's ass. You seen that? Yeah, I love Graham. He writes my favorite smut.
He's gonna go. He probably went back and like read it. It's like, fuck, I think I was right.
I was like, look it up, man. Tony. Well, God, it's
Crack
Primarchs.
reflection.
Primarchs.
Reflection cracked.
Reflection cracked. Page 237. Line 18.
And they inserted this up his ass.
Line 19 is when they expanded.
Well, they're like, the bigger the butt plug, the more scared the demon's gonna be. Turns out it was Fulgrim the whole time.
The demon's gonna be so scared. Oh no!
Ah.
Stop enlarging the butt plug. You're getting the demon out.
Oh no.
Oh man,
That's ridiculous.
So good. And I love that we missed that too. That was like that's when Trey Wreck. You need to reread this page. And I remember we had the review, and we released it, and then he messaged us, "Oh, you missed this." And then the next like preview did like we gotta have
we need to have a conversation.
about this.
I miss good old Train Wreck.
Oh yeah, he'll be back.
They always come back.
They always do.
Let's see. What's your least favorite moments?
This year,
Yep.
I mean, having to reread 2 stories.
It's
pretty rough.
Yeah.
I mean, not going into the siege, just talking like the Horus Heresy.
Yeah, Born of Flame was rough. What happened?
Yeah.
Was it 2 or was that 3?
Like ranking?
No, that we had a reread of short stories in that book because we ended up skipping like half the book because we're like, we already read this.
I mean, there was artifacts.
Yep.
And then there was, I think it was just 2, but
Okay.
I don't remember. And then Runestorm. Runestorm, the book itself. Here's the thing. I don't think Runestorm is a good book.
No.
But the benefit of Runestorm is it's the shortest book in the entire series.
It was short, and we made a complete joke out of it.
And I know David and Adele was like, I gotta get out of here.
Bigger dicks.
Bigger dicks. other than that, like it's been a very mediocre ending to the series. It was a very mediocre ending. Um, the crowns on the walls and all that stuff in Wolfsbane, it was fine. And then like Titan Death. Titan Death was rough.
It was a slog. The worst part of Titan Death was everyone had the same name, so I had no idea what was ever happening.
And you take something like what we were just talking about with Rune Storm. It's like you know you were handed this shit sandwich.
Yeah.
But John French was like, I'm gonna
This is
make
Guy
it.
Haley.
Oh, Guy Haley did Time
Yeah.
Death? He's like, I'm gonna make it really long. I'm gonna make like a really long shit sandwich.
Just keep putting more shit
Just keep-
between the bread.
Yeah, that was a tough one. And I don't, I will never understand when like people come and discuss like, oh, Titan battles are so much fun to read about.
Yeah, the scale doesn't make any sense.
It's nonsensical and like, how is that fun? Like, there's a reason you don't see or no one has heard about. There's no mainstream Godzilla novels. Like you want to have people fighting that are big, doing crazy shit.
Yeah.
You need. I'm sure it would look great in a movie. Sure, it looked awesome in a movie,
Yeah.
but not in a book. And that's why you any kind of battles you see now, they're having to get really creative.
Even just like reading about combat isn't enjoyable.
Yeah.
Like I don't care how many times the sort of or the Spirit Telesto has been swung
Yeah,
or stabbed at. Like I don't give a fuck. Like give me like, oh, he ripped out Angron's nails with his bare fucking hands. Like that's sick as shit.
the trick that we've discovered with combat is really like what are the creative things you can do with it
Yeah.
to make it more interesting. The less description you can actually give is it's better.
Yeah, I don't want to hear every sword saying, oh, he dropped the sword, but then he did a backflip and then caught it in midair. I'm like, oh, okay.
I like the way ADB does it because ADB just basically says like this person was like this in combat and just gives like almost
It's like a synopsis.
a synopsis. Yeah, like he compares Sanguinius to a hawk and Angron to a slow moving bird or whatever it is.
He's a fish.
Yeah. So it's like, okay, I get what's going on.
Yeah.
Like your analogy was enough for me to understand that he's like, and Ingram's like, fuck, I can't.
He's so fast.
Where's he going? I get that. Like you connected the dots for me.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear every single sweep that Sanguinius does. And
again, he swooped, and then he swooped again,
then he swoops again.
and then he stabbed him with the spear of Telesto.
I think that's what he did.
Yeah,
Swooped.
probably. And then Valdor stabbed him in the ass to make sure it was Angron.
Angron's ass. I know exactly where I am. Oh man. Yeah. So what were when it comes to the warp,
Yep.
what has been your favorite depiction of the warp this year? Your least favorite depiction? I mean, it's so all over the place. And I feel like sometimes it goes right, sometimes it goes wrong.
Well, you could put David Annandale in here as what the fuck's going on.
Exactly. I would agree with that 100%.
I think it was Echoes of Eternity that did it well. If I remember correctly.
With Latara.
Yeah.
That was probably my favorite one as well. There really wasn't a lot of warp fuckery. You got really cool scenarios in Old Earth where Vulcan he like gets eaten by a shit. What's the greater demon of Nurgle?
Oh yeah, the fat thing.
Plague, not
No, fuck.
father.
No.
Why am I
Lord of Stank.
Lord of Stank. So Vulcan gets eaten by Lord of Stank. And he ends up in like Nurgle's garden.
Yeah.
And then he uses his like hammer to light its insides on fire. And
Yeah.
it pulls his tongue out like
I mean, what the fuck is that called?
I know.
That's bothering me so bad.
I'm the great unclean one.
Yep, that's it.
Boom.
And unclean one, yep.
Yeah. That was a great little depiction and all the warp fuckery there.
Yeah. I feel like magic psychers in general were really weird this year.
All over the place.
Like we had the shit with Magnus killing Malkador, but not really killing Malkador.
Yeah, the perpetual deal is all over the place and what it
Mhm.
means.
And then like what's I didn't even think about this before, but like you have Malkador killing not Malkador. Magnus killing Malkador. But then he fought Vulcan and couldn't do the same thing.
Exactly. Yeah, we talked about this last
Oh yeah, yeah.
episode where it's like, what are the rules now with the
Yeah.
perpetuals? I mean, apparently Magnus discovered his gene code and undid it with magic,
Yeah,
and
whatever.
Vulcan's fine. Yeah,
It it's just weird. It's such a weird cop out that like they just like decide randomly.
they needed to kill a perpetual because they didn't know what to do with her.
Yeah, which it's funny. The only one that wasn't created by Dan is the one that's seen as the extra.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that is very frustrating. Yeah,
I
'cause
guess he
Stan,
didn't create what's her face. ADB
ADB
did.
did create. Well, yes, he did.
Yeah, I'm Betrayer.
Uh, did Dan write any other Siege books?
709.
No, Dan created her.
She was. I could have sworn she came in Betrayer. That was when she was.
Um,
That was when Damon came and got her.
Damon came and got her in Betrayer?
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. That would work then. Because yes, ADB did make her, but did ADB make her a perpetual? I think
We didn't
ADB
see her.
did make her a perpetual, but then like we don't get introduced to her again until Dan writes Saturnine. That's when she appears again in the Siege.
Yeah.
So who like yes, I do think ADB owns that character a little bit, but that's another thing that has killed me throughout this entire series is this concept of like writers get attached to characters.
Yeah.
And there's so many writers that every book you're reading is like a roller coaster on who's important.
And the thing is that they make up characters that already there's already characters that can fill that role, which makes it even worse.
A lot of the human commanders, I feel like, have
Yeah.
been really
Human
interesting.
commanders. Even we talked like we praised the beginning of the siege on Abaddon and
Yeah.
how like using him as the POV for chaos just makes so much fucking sense considering 40K. And then he went with like 5 books with nothing.
Yeah.
And even now, we just went through Into the Death Part 1. He barely had a role. His role was,
Yeah.
we should go back to the ship.
And even Katsuhira.
Yeah.
We were like, oh, this is what they should do with Katsuhira. And now he's a babysitter.
Yeah.
Like, did not.
Randomly with Keeler.
Yeah. So, like, we, before the siege even started, we were like, hey, I don't think that the authors are on the same vision quest.
No, it showed.
It shows in the siege like 10 times worse because
Yeah.
it's the same story, supposedly, right
Yeah.
there. And where I think the first 3 books of the entire series, the authors were on the same vision quest. They literally flowed identically into each other.
Yeah.
Like picked off right where the other one left off. You do not get that in Siege. And I feel like I really want to go back and ask Graham and ask Dan and ask, is it John that does Galaxy and Flame?
No, Ben Counter.
Ben Counter. Ask him like, hey, why did this go so smoothly?
Probably because that was the original vision.
Yeah. And like, do you think like they storyboarded that maybe a lot longer
Probably.
than the siege? You think they got into the siege without knowing the end? By the time they're writing Solar War?
Probably not.
That's crazy to me. Why would you do that?
Because I mean, Dan's still introducing new characters.
That's crazy. I guarantee you he will introduce a new character.
Yeah, 100%. And it's just silly. What I also don't understand coming from like this last year is why Horus is now being looked at as a god.
Yeah.
No one worships. Everyone other than like everyone like that has like any sort of like leadership has been shitting on Horus.
Yeah, I really do think that there's some GW meddling here. You have this concept that we're seeing in the newer books that are being released. Keep in mind, like, we're not Horus Heresy, we're current.
Yeah.
We're 100% current. Like, this is GW's timeline now.
Yeah.
And we're now picking up these rumblings of the Dark King, this
Mhm.
concept of a fifth chaos god. Is this Horus Heresy making a push for Warhammer 50K? Is there going to be some way that they tie this storyline with this chaos counterpart into what's the storyline they have now? It's the with Gilliman and all that. There's a whole story, the Dark Imperium. Is that what it's
Yeah,
called? Dark
I think so.
Imperium storyline. I can see that being a thing. We're on 10th edition now. I would not be shocked at all if GW starts making a sprinting approach towards Warhammer 50K. They got to pivot at some point. I really do think they do. I think business wise, they need a new, every once in a while, they're going to need a new banner to stand behind.
Yeah.
I think that might be what they're trying to do.
Hmm.
And I think we're seeing this current stuff come out. Dark King bringing into the storyline. Could we see a return of Forest Lupercal as this fifth Chaos God? I think it's possible. Maybe even a sixth Chaos God thrown in there. Are we going to get one of the scenarios like the old world got with the going into the Age of Sigmar, where they're now all battling in the realms of gods? Or is the Warhammer 50K going to be the same scenario where everything is the warp or the realm of order, the realm of chaos, whatever it is?
Yeah.
I see that being a possibility.
Maybe.
Speaking of things that they're doing, one thing that is greatly piquing my interest that GW is doing right now is old world miniatures.
Yeah, they're nice.
Yes, they're very nice, and like I can wrap my head around that way
Yeah.
than the shit that they're doing today.
Well, all they do today is just make more Space Marines,
Mm-hmm.
all in the same pose.
I'd love I really struggle with like this concept of a campaign in 40K.
Yeah.
It's like, what does a campaign look like? Are you doing a campaign to siege a planet? Are you doing a campaign in a solar system? And all of that is more RP at that point.
Yeah.
You go into a fantasy setting where you're fighting over literal territory, all of a sudden you can gamify that really easily.
Yeah.
Like we've already seen it happening with Total War. I bet you they're gonna release some crazy campaign shit for that game. It's gonna be much more lore focused, a lot more interesting. I'd be really into that kind of stuff. I've been moving more and more away from the competitive side of things because it's just all over the place all the time.
It's all over the place, and it's just so time consuming,
It is.
which sucks because like I enjoy playing,
Mm-hmm.
but I mean I have a kid right now who's 9 months old. Like
You have a kid?
is surprised, I know. Well, I can't just disappear for 3 hours.
Yeah.
Like I don't have that type of time frame anymore. Like right
Exactly.
now, like what I do for entertainment is I go to the basement, and an hour after I get about an hour by the time she's gone to bed to like play Xbox, and I'm like, all right,
Or
now I gotta go to bed.
this last week, yeah, but coming up, it's going to be reading.
Yeah, I've been
The end
audio
of the Death
booking.
Volume 2. How far have you made it in?
Let's see. I went to the gym today, and I am at. Let's see.
Already sounds further than me. Audiobooks are slow though.
I have 13 hours and 20 minutes left.
Out of what, like 17?
I don't know, a billion. A lot. I don't know. I am on. Jesus Christ. How this like thing is like through like also makes less sense.
Yeah.
I'm on part 5, chapter 15 fragments. But also that means absolutely fucking nothing because it's chapter 1.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
So you're on fragments. He does fragments in this
They're
book too?
fragments, yeah. This is my 3rd fragments.
Why are there so
And the
many
fragments are not like super short either.
Are they like on Terra still fighting?
They start and my eyes glaze over, and then I don't remember what I'm doing.
I kind of speed read those chapters a little bit.
Yeah,
I'm like, is
they're
there
rough.
anyone important here? Oh,
I
but
just
Susan
zone out
Arek
so hard. It's just like,
does nothing.
oh, this random human. Wow. Look
Well,
at those moves. Yeah, it's cool.
what does the preview look like for 2014? We haven't really like officially talked about this.
Yeah,
But
well,
this is live decision making that you're hearing.
we'll finish the siege, obviously.
I disagree.
God, I hope so.
I think we're gonna have quite a few special episodes after the siege
probably.
to finalize Primarch rankings, Legion rankings, have deeper discussions, what we liked, what we didn't like. We may even try to get another author on. If they haven't listened to us, they might agree.
Yeah.
But we'll see. We did just get ranked #1.
Yeah, we are the #1 ranked Horse Heresy book podcast.
I don't think there's a lot of them.
There was enough for a top 20 list.
Well, #2 is Horse Hour.
Yep.
And they're great. Should
Yep.
definitely check them out.
They would probably be #1 if they have been releasing episodes.
They haven't been releasing a lot recently. We kind of checked in on them. They're making their way through the siege.
Yep.
When we first talked to them, they were shocked that we were doing this endeavor.
Yeah.
We were reading as much as we were.
And trust us, we feel that.
Yeah. And then speaking to them now, they're like, I don't know if we're gonna do it.
It's rough.
Yeah, they were pretty light years ahead of us when we started.
Like yeah, because they were doing like 4-book seasons, and it was just like 4 books like made sense together. And like they didn't do all of them. They probably did 20, 30.
And they were ahead of they got started before us too.
No, we started before them.
Oh really?
I think we were almost like a year before them.
Oh wow. Well, I guess that makes sense when you look at all the numbers. The time.
So much time.
So after we do those special episodes, maybe we'll do one with them too. Try and pull them into.
Yeah, would love to do that. Love those guys. But yeah, I think we'll probably take either a podcast break, maybe. Maybe just do a different type of book that's not Warhammer.
I definitely think that the way the podcast is going to go is we'll start moving into non-Warhammer books. We're going to do some fantasy books, some sci-fi books potentially, move into areas that are a little more interesting to us.
Yeah, our Discord also has like a monthly book club. So I would like to get in one of those and like maybe just have like an open episode of just like that experience, and that'd be fun.
Our goal is to do more follow along for more like Warhammer news every now and then. And then ultimately we would like to do some sort of YouTube stuff with the Warhammer game, whether or not it be the Warhammer Fantasy series or Warhammer 40K, wherever we want to do it. But that would probably be not as prevalent as the podcast that we see.
Yeah. I mean, that doesn't mean we're not going to do Warhammer books either. Like there are ones that I want to read. Like I want to read the Night Lord Omnibus. I want to. Yep, Eisenhorn, God's Ghost. Although I don't know if I want to read Dan stuff, honestly, right now.
Yeah, maybe a little break from all that. Night Lord's Omnibus, I heard, was very good as well.
And it's ADB, so
yeah, there are definitely Warhammer books we want to get into.
I want to read the Lion book just so I can shit on the Lion, and I can let everyone know how shitty the Lion is, and I guarantee you he makes dumb decisions in it.
But I think we'll probably do another fantasy series to start off with, a different one that's not Warhammer.
Yeah.
We've been given a few different suggestions. The Malzahar is that his name?
I think it's Malzahar.
Malzahar series I heard was very good. We got a few different options. We haven't made any decisions yet, but
yeah, it'll be one of those things where we're decide a week before.
If we end up doing more YouTube stuff, I think what we'll probably see is we may end up growing the amount of people that are involved just to release YouTube videos. If that was something that we did on a more frequent basis, just because like Dylan's got a kid, so kind of hard to bring people. You know, if I lived across the street, maybe a little differently.
Yeah, it's a 45-minute drive to his house. If we're playing Warhammer, you have at least 30 minutes to set up.
3 hours of playing.
Well, with it's 10th edition, so it's probably only like 2 hours.
With us, though, I don't know. We've played.
With us, it might be 6 hours.
We've played 6-hour games.
And then I have a 45-minute trek back, and then I have to hope that I'm not murdered when I get back.
That's a day. That's a whole day. So, yeah, we'll definitely look into things to do. But I think we may even end up doing board game stuff.
That'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Gavin has a fuck ton of board games. I
I'm
have
a
some
big
board games.
game
Like,
fan. Maybe even do. I mean, we used to do a lot of table like RPGs with like
Yeah.
D&D and stuff like that. Like that would be a fun little thing to do. So there's a lot of options. We're both very nerdy.
yeah,
We have a lot of very nerdy
We're into
interests.
everything.
So we're gonna try and keep it alive as much as we can. It may not be as frequent as a week. We may do a podcast still, but we're just gonna try and branch out. Essentially, we'll move away from. I don't think we're gonna do the Primark novels. I really don't want to.
No, there's a few like I
Over
want to
time.
read, but
They're expensive.
they're expensive.
$200 for most of them.
Jesus.
Yeah, I've tried. I really
Yeah, I'll
want
just
to
probably get the Kindle version.
Well, yeah. I'm a big book collector. I like to have the physical copies, but like some like Vulcan's $200.
Yeah, that's kind of why I got the Kindle, was just because it's just easier to buy the books.
Oh yeah.
Like I would love to have a full collection of them, but I'm also not spending $200 for a book.
Yeah, for sure. I'm excited to get the third volume delivered because I've got them all.
Yeah, I'm doing the paperbacks because I already had paperbacks, and the paperbacks are coming out like a year later.
Well, now that I have like all of the like older ones,
Yeah,
it's that all of them come out with hardbacks immediately. So
yeah,
it's not too bad.
I really like the collector edition ones. They look
Yeah.
nice with the leather backs.
Hardest one for me to find, I think, was probably Garo.
I don't know why Garo's so hard to find.
Well, I don't think it was really intended to be written as a paperback.
I don't think it was ever intended to be read.
Well, I mean the original Garo. Not
That one probably should have been read, but might
Well,
not have been.
but not in the order that they released it.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was an interesting one. But yeah, there were a few that were tough.
Yeah,
Wolfsbane was really hard to find.
that's a weird one.
Yeah. I would always go,
Really, like all the Salamander books were hard to find.
yes.
Except for Morniflame.
I got super lucky. I found Vulcan Lives at like the random shop that I would go play at. And I
Yeah.
didn't even know how hard it was going to be to find.
It was impossible. I mean, the only reason I even have the physical copy is because Daniel found one on eBay and sent it to me.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I just got saved by that trip that I did where I went to random Warhammer stores. Like, do you have any books? And they're like, oh yeah. They had no idea. Like, they're selling this book for $10 because that was their price.
Right.
It's $150 on eBay.
Yeah.
Sometimes you get lucky.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if I'm ever in a rut, sell books.
Sell some books, yeah. Yeah.
It's like I'll start with books, and if it comes down to it, I'll sell some feet pics.
I'd buy those. And Graham would probably buy them too.
I'll have a special butt plug section.
I would love to have an episode after the siege to talk more about the TV show.
Yeah.
We do have confirmation that Henry Cavill is 100% making a Warhammer TV show. And there's been a lot of suggestion, nothing official from Warhammer, a lot of suggestion. Some people have said, oh, you should do Eisenhower, but more recently, media is saying, hey, they should just do the Horus Heresy.
Yeah, that's what I saw last too.
And Henry, if you're listening, bring us in for advisory on that because we have some thoughts.
So many thoughts. Not only can we streamline this,
I worry a little bit about this because I'm a huge Warhammer fan.
Yeah.
And Henry was noted pretty heavily to be super true to the source material, and I get it. With The Witcher, it makes a sense. It makes a lot of sense. With the Horus Heresy,
There's too many books. There's too many characters.
too many storylines that are dead, that are left out.
Yep.
And it can be streamlined very well.
The problem you run into those, you kind of have to introduce every Primarch.
I think you can do it in a very Henry, I have ideas. If you're listening, Henry, reach out.
Start with Olenor, maybe.
I would start.
You have a lot of the Primarchs there. That's where you introduce them, right?
I would have, if I was doing it as a TV show, I would do a whole season before I even get to Horse Rising. I would start with The Last Church I would have that little monologue thing, and it would be adjusted to be shorter, and it would basically explain the emperor's plan
Yeah.
to the priest. And then from there, I'd go straight into a like intro where somebody is explaining what happened as the emperor found all the Primarchs, and then it opens up to a scene of what's her face? Acte, but it's no longer Acte. Originally it wasn't Acte.
What the fuck was her original name?
Yeah.
I don't know.
The blind
witch.
priest and Monarchia
Yeah.
telling the story of their god. They're worshiping the emperor.
Yeah.
And then it starts with Monarchia, because Monarchia is truly where I think the Horse Heresy started.
Yeah, that's true.
And you'd get to go through and get introduced to Primarchs through Olenor, through the prequels to Nicaea,
Yeah.
and Lehman Russ and all of that fun stuff, and the bringing up of Horus as the War Master.
Man, seeing that introduction of like just Gilliman and
Yeah.
Beauregard would be pretty cool.
That's what I'm saying. Like just seeing Monarchia. So like I wouldn't take the books at like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'd say, what sections do we need to tell chronologically? I
Yeah.
would go about it in the most chronological way possible.
Yeah.
I think like we look at what happened to The Witcher, and I think if they did the same thing, it'd be a million times more confusing. Like, let's take the timeline seriously.
Yeah.
And you can do flashbacks, but flashbacks to things like the Primarch's founding.
Yeah.
You know, you can tell the story, like maybe you see Angron at Monarchia, and like you have some Space Marines or some guardsmen like talking about Angron because he scares the hell out of them, and then they tell the story about the founding of Angron.
Yeah.
Like just like over drinks.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I heard they killed the first 7 of his captains because they were doing this. So, like, that's what they need to do. Like, I think it would be way too much of an undertaking to introduce all those characters, all those things. You need to like find creative ways.
Yeah.
I'm sure Henry can do it.
Yeah, Henry, we'll send you the script.
I just think I worry about his. I loved
Love
it for
for
The
the lore.
Witcher, but I do worry about his like. I'm obsessed with the source material because I see that everywhere online. Like, you need to stay true to the source material. Everyone who's saying that didn't read the fucking source material.
Yeah, because it's bad.
I read the Witcher source material, the whole first book, and it's
Yeah.
good.
It is good.
You can do that. Not for the Horse Heresy.
Yeah.
Don't do it.
Yeah. All right, man. Is there anything else you want to mention for this last year?
It was a great year. The books were tough, but
They're still tough.
I mean, it's just like that's why we started. Just
Yeah.
hang out, have a good time, and like I wouldn't have made it
No,
in
I
Brookston
wouldn't.
without doing this.
No. Yeah, if it wasn't for this podcast, I would have quit reading these books a long time ago. I mean, I was like barely finishing in Legion when Legion was good before, when we started this podcast.
I probably would have started or stopped after Scent of Angels.
That was rough. I mean, I like the one that would have like, killed me would have been like Mark of Cow.
Oh yeah, I would.
If I would have made the Mark of Cow by myself and read that, make no.
Yeah. And well, if I knew it was a 70-book series and then I read Battle for the Abyss, and I'm like, wait
Well, you
a
like
minute.
Battle for the Abyss.
I did like Battle for the Abyss, but like for the podcast and the like enthusiasm, I enjoyed it. But like, if I was just a reader and I pick up Battle for the Abyss and everyone dies in the end and nothing is accomplished, I'm gonna be like, oh, is that what this series is?
That's fair.
70 books of this shit? That'd be pretty rough.
Yeah, it would be rough. All right, man. I think that's it. That is our year in preview. Kind of our plans for the future. Give us book recommendations for next year. We will gladly look into everything. We haven't made any decisions, so send those to us. As always, hit us up on Discord. Find that pinned to our Twitter at Heresy Lodge. Email us at theheresiolodge@gmail.com. Check us out on YouTube at Heresy Lodge. Buy yourself merch for the new year. New year, new you. New
Yep.
merch.
Yeah, this will be coming out day before New Year.
This will be out on Saturday. New Year's is Monday.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, so Happy New Year.
Yes, Happy New Year. Hopefully you had a Merry Christmas or whatever other holiday you do or do not do. That's it, guys. You have a good one.